portable all-in-one solution with built-in replays in slow motion for all channels, which is probably the only one in the world at the moment, which is really packed for the...
So it's the only one in the world that will do this right now?
Yeah, exactly. So you got a replay system with slow motion and in-out animation in one system, also switching, recording, playlist, and all packed in the portable system, which weighs like 15 or 16 pounds.
What I like about it is that the form factor it's so small and so portable that you literally could throw it in a bag.
Yeah, you can fly with it.
You can fly with it. You can check it right on. You know, it's carry-on luggage.
Yeah.
And within, I would say, 5 minutes, you plug your cameras in, you connect up, you're streaming.
Yeah, it's very fast from the time you turn it on till the live streaming. So I think it's probably the fastest machine. And
I would tend to agree with you. And what we mean by fast is, you know, there are other units out there, let's say the TriCaster or Livestream, whatever, that are, you know, are somewhat competitors. But what's unique about the StreamStar is the portability, the form factor, and the fact that you don't have to have a degree in electronics to operate it. That's what's always impressed me about it. You just plug it in, turn it on, and it works, and it's almost intuitive.
Yeah, I go a little bit to the background. That from that project we made the CDN. Then come the biggest TV operator in our region.
Really?
That they want to make a big web TV stations, and they want to stream like 20 sport games simultaneously, and they need some production tool which won't be expensive and which will be very easy to use. So at that time we did a really first generation of that product.
Okay.
Don't call it product at that time, it was a project type of product, so just for them. And they also asked us to set up a company which will be doing production for all.
So you have a production
games.
background, which is why all the functionality obviously is built into it.
Production background, not from broadcast, but directly from the webcast. So we came just from the webcasting, no broadcasting background. So we are trying to have a minimum cost and really maximal results.
Now, two other things. Let's talk a little bit about the configuration of the webcast case, your inputs, your outputs, things like that.
Yeah, okay, so in terms of webcast case, this is main focus is for a little bit higher level of webcasting.
Right.
So we are using pretty much really quality components. In terms of inputs, at the moment it's 4 SDI, so HD SDI of course, and HD SDI output. There is also a HDMI input for capturing. You just plug in the iPad or iPhone and just swipe it, and it's just a fifth input. So that's direct capture for.
That's really cool. So if I have my iPhone and have video or audio or pictures on it, I just literally plug it into the webcast case.
Google Maps.
Whatever.
Yeah,
and it's going to run live, and it's a source.
Yeah, it's just a source. Yeah.
Very cool.
So it's a fifth source. Then you have a HDMI output where you can make a multi-view. There are different type of multi-view you can configure.
Right.
And then what we have very unique is that replay and slow motion system, which have also monetization. So you can load.
Yeah, that's
animations.
a real important feature, the monetization feature, because very few other machines allow you the flexibility, and I do mean flexibility, plus the ability to actually monetize and put in ads or banner ads or whatever it is that you want, almost on the fly.
Yeah, exactly. And also the animation before and out, the replays come in and out. I don't know how you call it in the States.
No, you're correct.
In-out animations. So
right.
you can put there as many in-out animations for replays as you like, and they are coming randomly, so it could be advertising.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I also believe that in addition to that, you have a feature on that monetization part where you actually can get a printout.
What?
Can you get a printout, a paper copy of what was run?
Yeah. So there's a
statistics.
statistics.
To me, that's huge, because in this space, clients who run advertisements want to know how many times something was run, and need to see an accounting of that, and your system has it already built into it.
Yeah, built in is a statistics for how many times was the in or out animation was out, and people see that in the stream.
So you
and
get
it goes smooth natively, because it's not a real advertising. It's just in the
Right, it's in the flow.
In the flow, so it's not like not pushing to people like this is advertising. It's
Right.
very, very smooth.
It's a natural flow within the system.
Natural flow.
Yeah,
So
that's really great.
So what other things is very unique by our system is that we have a built-in intercom and tele. So
Built-in intercom and tally light. Now that's a new feature.
yeah, that's a new feature, and it's 5-channel, so 4 camera guys and 1 monitor, and it's really easy because from the machine there goes just one cable. It's
Right.
like Ethernet cable, goes to our small box, which is
Right.
next to the camera guy, and it's also powered by that cable. So you just plug headphones into that small box by the camera guy and the tele, and you all set.
And that just adds again to the portability and the form factor and the ease of use of the StreamStar web case.
Yeah, then again, I'm going back to 2008 and 2009
Okay.
because there we have to think about how we make it easy and what features really need the operators and how it should be easy to operate.
That's great. Now, let's get to the moment at hand, which I think is really cool. It's the first time that StreamStar's actually been on an NAB show, and we thank you for doing that. And I also got to thank you because we are actually running one of your relatively new products as we speak. This show is actually being brought to you by StreamStar, and it's actually being telecast, if you will. We're actually using your StreamStar, the webcase Touch.
Yes.
And it's the coolest machine, and I think we have right there, we have a shot right now of Michel, and why don't you tell us a little bit about that unit while we have a close-up. We'll keep that shot on. This is actually the machine live right now, folks, that we are using to bring you this netcast, if you will. So why don't you describe a little bit about what's going on. Now that's touch, you can actually touch the interface there, and there's Michel right now.
Yeah, so basically like the interface and all the easy of useness is made that it was touchscreen enabled. So from the beginning we developed it that you can use a touch screen. So it's touch-based software solution. As you can see right now, there are 4 camera previews, and if he likes to switch the cameras, he just touched the camera. So it's not.
So basically what you're seeing there is actually visuals. Let's go back to that shot if we could there, Michel, for a second. You're seeing all the visuals, you're seeing the camera displays right up now. We also can bring in a computer to bring in the text or graphics or bring in another IT source, if you will, correct?
Yeah.
And then he's just basically touching the screen. It doesn't get much easier than that. Certainly you can use the keyboard and mouse, but as you can see, he's bringing up the titles, and he's just picking essentially what he wants and touching it. It doesn't get any easier to use than that.
Yeah, and just by touching, if you can operate an iPad, you can work with our system. So that's why we want to make it as easy as possible to bring to the people which have no non-broadcast skills and don't need to use the panels
Right.
and whatever.
Well, that's the beauty of that machine, because it is touch, and essentially right now everybody's using tablets. In fact, I have one right here in front of me, but what I like about the touch is that it is touch. What's nice about this is you don't have to have a PhD in electronic engineering to use this system. So essentially what happens is you open this up, particularly the touch, and for students or for churches or for people who really don't want to be, quote, a techie, StreamStar really provides, I think, the best units out there. And when I opened the touch, and I just saw it for the first time yesterday, and it's basically a monitor with a small CPU attached to it, and the power that delivers is jaw-dropping to me. I still can't believe it, and it's working flawlessly, of course. Why don't we talk a little bit about the components, because I know we've had this discussion in the past, but Rado's very, 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 very fussy about the type of components that are used in all of your equipment, and it really adds to the reliability, I think, of the whole unit, because the last thing you want is to be on the air using anybody's system and have it crash or have any kind of problem with it not booting up, or situations where it's not switching, it's not reading, and you've gone, I think, to pains to find components around the world that will work. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, because we've been in the industry so long, not really on the market or not in the US, but we are in industry more than 10 years. And and we in the previous systems we try to use these cards and this component, and sometimes happen all kinds of things.
So these things have been really tested well.
Yeah, so it was really tested well. So and then we finally were looking for really good components, and we decided that we will never use unexpensive or let's say cheap components in our system. So it will last for many years, and it can run like 4 or 5 days with for streaming without any problems.
Without any problems.
So before we go on the market, we test it in a real environment because we have a sister production company. So it's a real tested, every feature.
Now, we have some new products that have just come out, and actually I think we're showing them, I believe, for the first time at NAB. And I think with this next release of this next product that we're going to talk about, which is the Webcast Lite, I'm blown away by it, and I think this is going to send shockwaves up and down the spines of people who are competitors to you. And I'm not just saying that, but your price point on this next product has me very excited, and I think our viewers who are thinking about getting into this space to do streaming, whether it's for a church, a synagogue, whatever the case may be, high school, sports for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about this brand new product? I'm very excited about it. And the price point, oh my God.
So there comes the people to us that they really like, they are from different segment of the streaming.
Right.
A little bit lower. And they come to us like asking for HDMI, and they want to build their own system, and so on and so on. So
because a lot of people have HDMI cameras that they bought, they're prosumer cameras, if you will.
Yeah,
not a lot of people would buy, consumers or churches would go out and buy an SDI camera.
Yeah, they cannot afford it.
They can't afford it.
It's a situation.
So what happens is it keeps a lot of people out of this industry because most systems are going to require SDI in. So now you have, your Canon or your Panasonic or JVC, whatever it is, that works real well. It does 1080p, but it has an HDMI output, and you want to do some kind of switching. You want to cover some sporting event, or you want to do a podcast, or whatever the case may be.
Or you can also use a DSLR.
Right.
So the product called Webcast Lite, and it's basically, it comes in the box. So it's a capture card and the software.
Yep, Mike will get a close-up of that, I think. There we go.
So you get a box, you get a card, you get a software.
Hold that up there straight for Mike.
Okay. So you get all this, you just install it in your PC, and you all set, you can stream up to HD. So that's all, and the features are very similar from our big systems. So now everybody can stream, and the 2-input version is just under $1,000.
So I don't know if you've heard that he has 2 inputs. You buy the card, and the software comes with it, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And you build your own PC system. You've got to have probably an i7?
i7 or some Xeon. That's
okay.
Fine.
Okay, so you get a semi-beefy machine, which is not that expensive today for sure. And you're going to buy this card, 2 inputs, $990 or 4. But the price on the card and the software, and this is the full-blown StreamStar software, is $995. I mean, that's unheard of. It's unheard of. Now, you also have a 4 input configuration, and that's what, $1795?
$1795, yeah.
$1795. Now, I'm not here to push anybody's products, but I have to tell you, in my experience, I don't know anybody who could even come close to that with that type of functionality and also the reliability factor. It's an amazing price, and if that wasn't enough, and I asked you twice because I didn't believe you, you're giving a free year of streaming with this?
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Are you making any money on this? I mean,
no, we want to.
A free year of streaming is.
No. Yeah, we are giving a 1 year of streaming service, a professional video cloud, which is called StreamStar Cloud, and we want to make everybody stream. Everybody goes live.
For $995, you're going to get 2 HDMI inputs. You're going to be able to put those cameras to work. You're going to get the StreamStar software. You get to use your own machine. And he's throwing in a free year of streaming on top of it. That's a good deal. Yeah. That's a good deal.
Yeah, I hope you buy some.
I hope they do too. I don't know how you could not. With the functionality that you're getting, it's extraordinary to me. It's absolutely extraordinary. And I think that's going to bring us to one final number that you did on me last night. You've now introduced a streaming service, a cloud service.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the StreamStar Cloud is a platform where you can stream directly from our software. So you don't need to put their username and RTMP links and this stuff, so it's hooked to our platform.
Right.
You can also stream to other platforms, of course, it's open.
Okay.
I'll go back to the StreamStar Cloud. And it's, as our vision was that our products are easy of use, then we also make a cloud easy of use.
Okay.
So you just simply log in, click a button, create a live stream,
right.
Make a name for the live stream, and you're streaming live. That's it. So you have you can then manage your embed code. You have a multi-bitrate streaming. You have transcoding in the cloud.
Right.
You have adaptive bitrate streaming. You can connect to any other systems which are for monetizing.
Really.
It's really full packed, and we did it as we need it as
right.
a producers and as for our use also.
Very, very impressive. Now, can you buy the streaming service, the StreamStar streaming service, if you don't have a StreamStar system?
Yes.
You
yes.
can.
Yeah, you can. We are not like pushing that much on
right.
that because we want to keep it mostly for our customers, like something premium,
sure.
some premium club
sure.
for our customers. But yes, you can buy. But if you see our products, you will buy it with that.
Wow. So let's to wrap things up. I think we've talked about 4 major products. Certainly the webcast case. We've talked about the webcast touch, and I'd like to get one more shot of that before I let you go. I'll be referring to that a couple times during the day, but if we can get a live shot of that, there we go. There's Michelle again on the StreamStar Touch, and that thing blows my mind. It's just so easy to use. I mean, really, a grade school kid in 20 minutes will be actually producing a professional video. It's that well designed, and I congratulate you on that. And I love that. I love that interface.
Yeah, really,
it's fantastic.
if we take somebody who knows what is camera, just knows what is camera,
right.
then we can like teach him in 10-15 minutes, and he can be an operator.
You know, I venture to say that there's other units out there that you couldn't learn in a week. This StreamStar makes it easy to use. The quality components that you put in, I don't think anybody compares to the quality and the tolerance of the components that you use. So that's all good, and I wish you the best of luck at NAB. I'll try to get by sometime today and say hello, and I really appreciate you spending some time with us, and I really appreciate StreamStar sponsoring the opening NAB show. That's very nice of you, and we greatly appreciate it. And thanks for letting us use the touch.
Thank you very much. And I just want to mention that we will give a 1 a day free of webcast
really?
light every day on the NAB show. So just come by, leave a business card, and
so
you
you're
get
having
one
a drawing
free.
for
Yeah, and also with the streaming, 1 year of streaming service.
Can I put my card up there?
Yeah.
Okay, the Gadget Professor is going to definitely do that.
Put 10, and you'll get a better chance.
I got one question for you. Before I let you go, and it's one of my pet peeves with anybody's products. You know, support. If someone has a problem with StreamStar, they have the ability to get to speak to you or Michelle directly. It's not like you have to go through a lot of chain of commands.
Yeah.
You support those products personally.
Yeah, exactly.
No one does that, and it's
we know what is
impressive.
behind. Yeah, we know what is behind.
And you also could log into someone's computer.
Yeah, we have remote support, so
they have remote access. Where if you are having a problem, which is unlikely, and most of the time it's user error anyway, but they do have the ability to log remotely right into your machine wherever you are in the world and see if anything is wrong and fix it.
Yeah, every machine goes with a remote system, which we know and identify then a problem, and then we log in. That's it.
You've got it all covered.
Yeah, the vision is to make a customer happy, and we want to cover like from production till manage and delivery, the whole chain for him, and he has to be happy.
That's great. Now you have a distributor in the United States, and that's Digital Media Distributors. So I guess if you go to Digital Media Distributors in the United States, they can get you to the local dealer in the USA who can sell you the products. You can always go on the StreamStar.com site for all this information will certainly be on your website, StreamStar.com. So, Mr. Radel Toth, CEO of StreamStar, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It was a real pleasure. I enjoyed our interview. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And we'll try to catch you again sometime. Before I leave NAB, I'll be back in touch with you. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, that was certainly an interesting interview with Mr. Radel Toth. I think he's clearly demonstrated that StreamStar is going to be a player in this field now and certainly in the future. But $995, my God, $995 for a 2-channel HDMI recorder and a year's free streaming software. That's really cool. That's really cool. So we're between shifts right now, and hopefully we have our next guest coming up. And now we're going to have a word from our sponsor. Let's rerun my opening, and we can edit that in later because that's important. Is my mic live? Hello everyone, this is Don
got
Bain,
the
Gadget
toys.
Professor.
He's got showmanship. And he's got sex appeal. Ladies and gentlemen, from the great Southwest, here's the guru of gadgets, the dapper and dashing Don Bain, the Gadget Professor. Gadget Professor.
Hello everyone and welcome to NAB 2014. My name is Don Bain and of course I am the Gadget Professor. Thank you so much for tuning in. I got to tell you, this place is rocking and rolling. It is 9 o'clock here, or about 9 o'clock, and the place is packed. People are coming in from the left, from the right. We have a beautiful booth here at the NMX New Media Revolution booth, which is the official sponsor of NAB, this broadcast. And Mike is panning around, and this place is just really, it's mob. That's all I can tell you. There are probably 4,000 people in front and behind me signing in. If you're new to the Gadget Professor, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my show, which is every Thursday evening. It's called The Gadget Professor, and you can watch that anytime, 24 hours around the clock at thegadgetprofessor.com. We come up with a brand new show every Thursday evening, and essentially what we do is we cover all kinds of technical gadgets, from the pro stuff to the consumer stuff. I try to cover things that are of interest to the general public, things that will be electronic sometimes in nature and will help you actually enhance your life and make things easier for you. We talk about where you can get some free apps, some free software. Most of the stuff that I talk about are things that you can get for free. Of course, we have all kinds of gadgets that we evaluate, from movie cameras to security cams. We did some DJ stuff. It really depends upon what mood I'm in or what gadgets that is out there, or things that companies send me in to actually figure out what we're going to do. So I don't even know what the show will be about until maybe a day or two beforehand, and we do record it live in our studio out of Scottsdale, Arizona. So the Gadget Professor at gadgetprofessor.com is totally free, and that stays up on the Gadget Professor website each week, and actually everything is archived. So you can watch old shows anytime you want on the Gadget Professor, and right now we're in our 3rd year of production, so that's kind of neat. And what we're going to do here at NAB is cover the latest in technology, and I have a new interview probably every 15 minutes, and we're going to start right now with the folks from NewBlueFX. Come right on. And I'm hoping you're Travis White.
I am Travis White.
Don Bain, the Gadget Professor.
How are you?
How are you? How you doing?
Doing very well.
Thank you so much for coming in for our interview today. I've been a big fan of NewBlueFX. I actually happen to know Todar Fay, your CEO, who's a lovely gentleman, and you guys, like once a week, are coming up with something new. Maybe once
Seems
a
like
day
it,
at this
it? It does
point.
seem
But
like
you have some fascinating products, and they're of interest to me in particular, and I know they're going to be of interest to our audience because you make people look good. Essentially, that's the business that I think you're in.
That's right.
You make people look good, and it makes it easy. Okay, these guys make it easy for you to produce and enhance professional video like you've never seen before, and I'm probably taking some of your thunder, but I don't even know how many products you have.
I'll just go home right now.
How many products do you have? Do you know?
Well, we'll count them by plugins. How's that?
Okay, let's do plugins.
There's about like 280 some odd different plugins. But you use the word easy, right? And some people are like, not for me. But actually, I would rephrase that.
Okay.
Easy is true, but basically we respect the billable hours of the editor. So we don't want to make a product that's very complex to operate.
Right.
It has the most essential controls right there to do, dial in everything. You don't have to dial aisle 13 right there to understand and know that slider 23 has to be at 50% kind of thing, right? So it really dials in exactly when you get in, get out, get the look you need.
Let's back up a little bit. Let's tell our audience actually what a plugin is for and what software the plugin would integrate. So we'll start, right from step one. What is a plugin? And from your company standpoint of view, I know there's a ton of softwares out there that you interface with. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Right, so we're a plugin developer of video effects software, and that's a very broad term.
Sure.
And those plugins are additional tool sets that plug into your video editing application or your nonlinear editor of choice.
Right.
So we work with Avid, we work with Apple, we
I've
work
heard
with
of those
Adobe,
companies.
a couple of those, Grass Valley,
Right.
Sony. So we really have a breadth of hosts
I see.
that we plug into. So,
which is great because you're not locked into using one vendor's software, if you will. You plug into everybody's software essentially. That's how I view it.
Yeah, consider enhancing your host, enhancing the tool that you use. And some of the things that you can achieve a certain look by layering up 3 or 4 or 5 different plugins and kind of concocting your own kitchen, so to speak. But we have a very acute tools to get specific jobs done, like skin preservation or like skin touch-up. It already has a color key in there, finds the skin, touches it up, and so it's just one plugin with a couple sliders, gets the job done.
Now this is something that would take hours upon hours of someone who's a very accomplished editor to do this without the use of this plugin. In fact, especially with skin tones, I would venture to say, I certainly couldn't do it, but with your plugin, it makes it doable.
Right, and that's just one of the 200-something odd different plugins. We have a number of transitions. A lot of video editing applications are a little anemic on what they offer as far as the amount of transitions.
Right.
Especially when you have big scene changes and you want to really move the story from location to location. We also have a whole line of what we call essential tools.
Okay.
And these are kind of acute problem solvers.
Such
as a color replace. You know what, we've got a great scene, but we have this anomaly of color in the scene. Let's just change that color right there on that can or on that curtain, and it's done. Or you have things like a picture-in-picture with drop shadow, outline, and reflection already built into it. In certain NLEs, it's kind of a challenge to concatenate that solution. And then one of our biggest products is NewBlue Titler Pro. Which is
brand new, right?
It's relatively new. Actually, just at the show, we're announcing a new version of it.
That's
Titler Pro 3.
New.
Yeah. So, to your earlier point, yes. So, but the great thing about Titler Pro is it's specifically designed for video editors. A lot of video editors, they're really, the job of a video editor and a motion graphic artist continues to kind of get squished together and blurred. And the guys that are, day in, day out cutters, they're like, oh, what, I got to go, learn something that's a full 3D program? Yeah. Well, that's why Titler Pro was invented, to really get 2D and 3D animated titling into your timeline, not an external solution.
Right, and that would be in post-production.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, did you bring any graphics or videos for us today? I don't know. Everybody.
I do. I have 2 videos that you
Let's
can use.
let's take a look at one of those. Your
Okay.
choice, because I don't know
All
what
right.
we're looking at. I'm gonna find out like you.
Well, let's look at first. You got a stick here. Should I give this to somebody in particular?
Oh, we didn't get the stick. Let's see here. Mike's gonna get the stick. Oh, here comes Michelle. This is live, folks. So
This is live.
You know,
It's like number 1.
so we're gonna cue that up, and we'll keep talking. This is live. This is what happens. You know, this is live production. So if something goes wrong, you're gonna know. Not that this is a big deal.
I'll fill in a little bit more of what we do because we talked about transitions. We talked about 3D titling, 2D and 3D titling.
Right.
And we also have the essential line, which I talked about. We also have color correction for video editors as well.
And that's real important because you're going to be videoing something that looks great while you're there, but when you get back to the ranch, it doesn't look as sunny or as bright as your brain kind of remembers it.
Especially, I mean, the nature of shooting nowadays is you shoot flat.
Correct.
Right? You shoot flat and you're going to colorize after the fact. You're going to correct after the fact.
you
That's
know,
like always the case now.
I'm probably reaching here, but I'm going to ask anyway because this is what I do. What about 4K? Because now 4K, you're going to be shooting a giant screen, if you will, and the editors are now going to have the ability to focus in on that particular scene or
Sure.
spot that they want. So I would imagine your plugins are even going to be more useful when it comes to that.
Well, the nice thing about all our plugins are native within the host that you're working in.
Right.
And so it depends on what the host does. If the host does 4K, we do 4K.
That's
So it's
fantastic.
just because we're working in the native pipeline of what they're offering.
These folks are really on it. I mean, they're really on the technology. I think that video's queued up, so Michelle, whenever you're ready, you can just run that video and you can watch it over there and actually talk about it.
Great, wonderful.
And I think that will be running any
As
second
storytellers
now. There
in
we
a
go.
deadline-driven
Well, this is
environment,
just a
we're always on
teaser
the
of
hunt
Total
for
Effects. I'll
tools
let
that
you hear
improve workflow and allow us to focus on our craft. With this in mind, we designed NewBlueFX plugins to remove the technical barriers from the creative process. Total FX solves your everyday challenges and gets you to your creative vision faster by freeing you from complex workflows. Organized into 5 categories of tools with over 280 plugins and thousands of presets, Total FX covers just about everything you run into in post, all seamlessly integrated into your NLE workflow. With Total FX in your bin, you can cut your story without cutting into the most valuable asset you have, your time. Unleash your story with Total FX from NewBlueFX.
Nice. Well, that was a very impressive video, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, and that just introduces Total Effects.
It makes it look so easy.
This is our kitchen sink, if you will, right? It is really everything that we offer at a very affordable price point. And again, our philosophy of respecting the editor's time, their billable hours, is carved into everything. So it has the color correction, the titling, the transitions, the essential plugins, all that.
It's not only respecting the editor's time, it's adding phenomenal, efficiency and increasing, having a tremendous impact on the actual quality of the end result. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think they go hand in hand. You're saving the editor time, but you're also enhancing the output.
Exactly. It's
And
definitely what we're doing.
Yeah. Now, before I forget, you have bundles, I noticed.
Yes.
So that you have the ability to buy a plugin or a transition if you want, but a lot of your materials are actually bundled, so you get a cost savings there with the bundle.
That's correct. So Total Effects that we just saw is the ultimate bundle.
Okay.
And it's everything that we offer.
Okay.
At $1,300. It's a very affordable price point. Now from there, you have kind of subfamilies within.
Right.
TFX is our transitions.
Okay.
EFX is our essential tools and line of products. CFX is more of the creative stuff, like painterly looks or
Right.
old film kind of style. And then to title or pros within that as well. Then, like you mentioned, we do break down to individual plugin purchases if that's what you need, an acute solution for your day.
I really respect that because a lot of companies, quite a few companies, will gouge you essentially, and they force you to buy a pack that you don't want, but you have the ability with BlueFX to buy what you want when you want, and that's really
Right.
Cool
I mean,
thing.
we find editors in different situations.
Right, have different
at
needs.
first, if you're stocking up, he says, you know what, I want to be ready for what comes. So I'm going to get the tool set, so to speak, right? But sometimes you're in the middle of a job, you have an acute problem, you can search our library, find an acute solution, get it purchased, get it done, and move
All right,
on.
that brings me to another question here, and I don't want to spring something on you, but again, this is what I do.
Yes.
what about support? Let's say, you know, I certainly you can go on the NewBlueFX website, and that has just a ton of stuff, including I saw some tutorials. So
That's right.
if I were new to this business and I don't know what I want, but I know I want something to enhance this, that, or the other thing, so I would go on your website.
That's correct.
And that would give me the overview. And now it appears that if I have no clue how to use this, there's tutorials there.
Oh yeah, there's tutorials across the whole site for every one of the products, all the way down to the
every
individual.
one of your products.
Every one of the products.
Wow.
So if you're looking for a particular plugin like flash removing, if you're a live event kind of person, and
Wow.
there's still photographers popping off flashes everywhere.
Right.
We have Flash Remover Pro. You can get on the site and see a tutorial like how do I use this thing, and it's I think that one's probably 5-6 minutes long or something like that, and you just get that done.
That's great. Now, is there an ability to get help after that? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, we have 24-hour.
You do?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
You go through our support system, and we promise within 24 hours you're getting an answer back.
So if I buy if I buy the big pack,
Total Effects.
Total
yeah.
Effects,
Right.
okay, and how many? I'm afraid to ask, how many effects come with that?
Around 280 some odd.
280. Okay, well, if I pick number 27 and I did the tutorial and for whatever reason I have a problem, I just don't understand, I can actually get in touch with you people and you'll help me figure out what I'm doing wrong.
That's right. I mean, first and foremost,
Wow.
read the manual first. No, go to the website to that product page. There's video tutorials right there,
Right.
and that'll show you how to use it. But if you need further assistance, definitely right on our website is a Ask Us tab, and click on that, and you can either have live chat or you can send in an email, and you'll get that response back, and we'll work it out.
You definitely have all bases covered, and I commend you for that. It adds a lot of cost and expense to companies to have that support system behind them, and a lot of companies just don't do it because of that. But you do, and I commend you for that.
Well, I mean, our users are our number one advocates, right? That's what gets the word out, and so we recognize that, and so we give that support to get them going.
Now you have another video, I understand.
We do have another video.
Michelle.
So this video is introducing something here at the show.
Really?
Titler Pro 3 is
No,
our
I haven't
latest
seen this yet.
titling
I haven't
solution.
seen
So
this
check
yet.
this out.
I'm trying to get some eye contact with Michelle. I don't know if that's queued up. Are we ready to run his second video? Great. Okay, let's take a look.
The volume of complex video production is exploding, from corporate to new distribution channels in the rise of 24/7 news, to more and more stations producing more and more programming. And at the same time, the line between editor and motion graphic artist has become blurred. To meet these demands, we designed NewBlue Titler Pro, a comprehensive motion titling tool to work directly where you need it, right in your NLE. No more round tripping or complex external programs. Titler Pro incorporates rich animations, transitions, and effects. And to get you there faster, Titler Pro provides over 500 presets and an ever-growing universe of add-ons to extend your design palette. Far from your basic text tool, Titler Pro allows you to compose complete graphic designs with true 3D styles, multi-layer extrusions, video textures, blending modes, vector shape import, and more, all in a full 3D environment complete with multiple light sources, compositing, and effects. And because Titler Pro renders from true vector content, tiles conform beautifully to any resolution your NLE can put out, all through a 100% GPU accelerated pipeline. And when jobs call for multiple titles in a production, Titler Pro offers across-the-board edits to text, assets, and style, all from one place, rippling changes through your timeline in an instant. Whether you need a gorgeous hero title, an eye-catching lower third, or multiple title production, Titler Pro has you covered. Creatively, functionally, and in record time. Titler Pro, finally, a titling solution that works the way you work.
Okay, we are back live now. As I mentioned, folks, this show is live, and actually when we run the videos, we try to regroup here, and we have some chit-chat, which I guess went over the air, so we're going to try to have the mics cut when we run the videos. We didn't say anything bad. We're just trying to talk about what our next
I complimented your tie is what I did.
So, we just started this morning. We're going to get the technical bugs taken out shortly, but not that big of a deal. So, as you probably heard, This has a pretty cool feature. It's kind of, I call it like a universal editor. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so
I never even thought about that, but it's really neat.
This is a big issue for editors, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So when you, especially when you get into the finish work, you know, the finish editors that have to line up, let's say a reality show, more and more reality shows, right?
Reality show,
Yeah.
geez, I know what that is.
Or you know, just interview-based stuff as well, right? You got tons of lower thirds happening through the production.
As we do here right
yeah,
now.
One of our users can get upwards of like 120 title graphics within a show.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And
I
so,
think we have 50 today alone, just on this.
Exactly. And so now you're the producer and you walk in and you say, you know what? Blue's not it anymore. It's gold. And I've just finished. I've made all these titles. I've baked them. I've rasterized them. Well, Titler Pro 3, it has one interface. And so you open it up and you're like, you know what? This is the template I set up that all these titles are looking at. I'm going to change that bar from blue to gold, but all the text, all the different names of people, they're going to remain as is. And so with one template edit, rippled through your timeline, is that change that you want.
That's huge. And you know what, from my standpoint of view, I do a lot of different shows, a lot of different broadcasts, and sometimes I have experts, and they come back frequently, but sometimes I'm in a blue motif, sometimes I'm in a silver motif. So I can literally take those titles.
That's right.
And just change the color to match the set that I'm in without retyping them all.
As long as you as the editor have set up all those titles to look at that template. Now, and there's also flexibility. In one show, you could have 5 different templates that you set up that a number of different titles are looking at. You can also go to any individual title and say, you know what, someone got the person's name wrong, it's MD, it's not doctor, or something like that. And you can click right on that title, change that text, and it will not mess with the visual content. So you just change that text string, but it's still the silver extruded text that you had, or what have you.
What's your most popular effect, if there is such a thing? I mean, what's the most popular?
That is hard. We have camps within our customer bases. But I would probably say that the 2 most popular are Titler Pro, which we have version 3 here at the show.
Okay.
And then,
by the way, what's Titler Pro sell for? I'm just curious. I have no idea.
It sells for $349.
Very reasonable. Wow.
Or actually, Lisa, $299. Yeah. I just talked about the After Effects version. Okay. So for editors, it's $299.
Wow.
And then it works in After Effects as well.
You use that once or twice, you're a happy camper. I mean,
yeah.
What a great value.
Yeah. And there's an NAB show right now, or NAB sale going on here at the show as well. Exactly. It's 20% off.
Don, do you have to be at NAB to take advantage of that?
You can go to our website.
What about our
during this time period?
Millions of viewers out there who aren't here at NAB, who are back in Boston freezing, and want to take advantage of this?
NewBlueFX.com.
Okay.
You land right there, you'll see it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I did bring it up, so I will ask again. There's rumors going around, and you can just say you can't talk about it, or probable, or no comment. And
Sure.
I'll accept any of those answers, but there are rumors around that very shortly your products will be interfacing with the TriCaster interface. I know that's a tough question. I probably shouldn't ask
No
it,
comment
but,
at this time. But I will say that our titling application is 100% GPU accelerated.
Okay.
You've already heard about some of the features of just simply typing in text and visually it doesn't mess up the template.
Right.
We didn't talk about elastic timeline.
Let's talk about that.
So you can make up a title template. Let's say it's 8 seconds long. You got your animation in, your hold,
like
your
the
animation
opening to the
out.
Gadget Professor.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And you make that template, and then you can use it later. And you say, you know what? I don't need 8 seconds anymore. I need 12 seconds. Well, if you set up elastic timeline within the template, you can stretch that thing out as much as you want. And the nice thing is, you can set up regions within your design that say, hey, this region, this animation in 2 seconds, keep it 2 seconds. I don't want that to stretch. But this body area, let me put an elastic region in so it'll stretch as much as I want. And then this point where the logo flips around, I want that to always be a second, so let me put a static region there. Let me put another elastic region. You can put intelligence into these templates to know when to stretch and when to conform. And so that one template you can use over and over again in various length scenarios.
Another point that I think is interesting, and probably the audience doesn't realize this, is that your company is very easy to get a hold of, so that if you have a company and you have a particular product and you want to essentially interface with what you guys do, it's just a matter of literally picking up the phone. I've noticed over the years that you're very open to working, if you will, and finding what the synergies are between a variety of companies. So
exactly.
I think that's great
that's
for everybody.
Our philosophy is that's what would make a company, right? is if you're actually, serving the customers you're going for as well as your partners you're going for,
Right.
and how can we serve them if we don't know them, right? So, that feedback loop is very important.
Well, I think you make a absolutely fascinating product. Your price point is more than reasonable. I mean, with your big bundle with the Total FX pack, I mean, my God, there's so many things in it. 280 plugins. Good grief. I mean, you use one or two of them 3 or 4 times, which you will in a year anyway, and
Right.
you've got your investment back, then some.
Exactly. Now,
That's awesome.
one thing about Titler Pro that we mentioned briefly,
Yep.
it also works in After Effects. And some people, and editors more and more, being the motion graphic artist, or at least having to do that work, right?
Right.
They're like, I got to go into some tool like After Effects to
Right.
get some motion title work done, right?
Right.
And it's a great tool. The nice thing with Titler Pro is it also plugs into the After Effects environment.
That's so sweet.
And so After Effects does have some extrusion, but if anyone's After Effects users, they know there's a little bit of a performance hit with that particular
right, which
extrusion.
you've taken care of now.
Which, ours is 30 times faster in render.
30 times?
I
How
know.
can that be?
I know it doesn't sound right, but we did a number of tests.
Really?
Yeah.
30 times?
Yeah. So there's definitely a performance gain in that, but also the uniqueness of putting video textures inside a certain layer of the text and extruding it and putting another outline on and getting these transition animations for which After Effects really doesn't quite do transitions.
Right.
Getting those baked into an overall After Effects project gets you there faster and gives you a very unique look that you wouldn't necessarily otherwise get.
Well, I'm as usual very impressed by the product line. I'm impressed by your company is about one of the friendliest companies that I've ever interviewed or do work with, and definitely send my regards to Todar. And I thank you so much for coming in. It was
you're welcome.
It was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, and I hope you folks did. Now, once again, you can get that discount.
That's right.
If you
During
go
the
on
show. I mean, if you're here at the show,
right, you can
excellent.
go up and
Come
get
by
it.
our
Right.
booth. We're in the Plug-in Pavilion in the South Hall.
Okay.
And if you're online, you're not here at the show.
Well, if you're watching this, you're online.
There you go. Good point. So it's www.newbluefx.com, and you'll find the show specials right there.
Mr. Travis White, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure
Thank you,
seeing
Don.
you.
I really
Talk to you
appreciate it.
later.
All right, take
Great,
care.
thanks. Have a good one. Have a good show. Thank you. Well, that was an amazing interview. I got to tell you, they literally come up with a new product once a week. It's insane. I've never seen a company that's so prolific, if you will, and they're the sweetest folks on the planet to work with. So let's get back to what's going on here at NAB. The show is we're about an hour into it, and we do have AMD here, and they're going to come on board right now. A lot of activity here at the booth, people trying to figure out where they got to go or where they don't got to go. And we have AMD here. Well, you're definitely not John.
No, I'm not. I'm Molly Connolly.
Molly, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you
pleasure
so
to
much
meet
for
you.
coming. Now, you are with AMD.
I am indeed.
One of my favorite companies, believe it or not. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Let me reset my clock here, because the Gadget Professor can talk a lot, so I got to kind of time myself. What's new at AMD?
Well, thanks for asking. I'm excited to be here at NAB. AMD is here. We're in the South Hall, SL 10405.
Okay.
And we're here launching a brand new graphics card here today.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I actually.
Oh, no, you got it here.
I actually brought it. This is our W90.
Let's put it right up here, and Mike. Mike will
Okay.
get a close-up of that.
Well, there you
We'll
go.
hold it like that.
Thanks, Mike.
And you can talk about it, and I will be the holder, or you could hold it and turn it as you want, because
Well,
we want to
actually-
see the inputs for sure.
Quite frankly, why we're excited to be here is because we're really here to enable the 4K workflow.
Now you got my ear.
Yes, we are. So we're here at NAB to enable the 4K workflow with our W9100. We have a full portfolio of graphics cards, but what we're launching today is really exciting. This graphics card can power 4K
Oh my God.
displays simultaneously at 3 at 60 megahertz.
Oh my God.
That's exciting, isn't it? So
It's
we're
unheard of is what it is.
so
Wait a minute, say that again, because I want to make sure I got it. I've never
So-
heard of this.
well, That's
Oh my God.
why. Look,
Mike, get a close-up of this.
it's
Wow!
exciting. It is so exciting.
Look at that.
So as I was saying, we're really here to enable the 4K workflow, and we don't do it alone. Nobody does
course.
anything in a vacuum. And so we're really fortunate and blessed to be here with wonderful partners, ISV partners that demonstrate the complete workflow from ingest all the way through throughput.
Right.
So we have Blackmagic Design, Resolve in
We've
our
heard
booth.
of them.
Of course, we have Assimilate Scratch in our booth. How about Adobe Cloud?
How about them, huh?
How about them? And then we also have Autodesk with Maya, the Foundry with Nuke and Mari.
Wow.
We actually have 11 demos demonstrating the power of content
So this is
creation.
up and running. You can see a demo of this?
It's not only up and running, but we have demos with 1 or 2 or 4.
I'll be there.
4 of these cards.
Are
Now,
you going to be at the booth later on so
I
you can
sure
give me a
will
demo
be.
of this?
Definitely. And guess how much memory is on here?
I'm afraid to ask.
16 gigs. It's a beautiful
Well,
thing.
you know, when you think about 4K, you're going to have that, but wow.
It is. Do you want to see?
Wow. Yeah, I do.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy at all. But you know, it really is about supporting the ecosystem here at NAB.
You know what? You know what's interesting, not to interrupt you, but
Please.
this technology, 2 years ago even, was just it's just a pipe dream.
It was.
It was an
entirely.
imagination 2 years ago, literally.
Well-
You couldn't do it.
Well, people were only thinking, well, 2 years ago, 4K was way out there.
Now, you
Now
remember
it's
when we
reality.
first sat down, I said I really like AMD, and I said I'll get into that later, and later is now.
Bring it on.
Why I like AMD is they're innovators, and you know, let's be honest. Today, right now, 4K was kind of an imagination, a dream 2 years ago.
Yes.
Last year at NAB, I personally must have seen and interviewed probably 20 different companies about the possibility of 4K, and certainly we saw a ton of 4K
Yes.
TVs. Now, no one's broadcasting, at least that I know of, in 4K.
Not yet, but we will soon.
But the point I'm trying to make is that in a year's time, from last year to now, what was something that I thought was probably 3 years away and 2 years at the earliest, here's AMD not only showing it, but they're demoing it. And Mike, again, just get a close-up if you can.
Yes.
Oh my God!
It's phenomenal. It really is. It's phenomenal. Now, in addition to our workstation
Amazing.
partners we have in the booth, because no company goes to market alone. We're
Sure.
fortunate to be working with Dell, with Supermicro, with.
Now you work with the folks at Next Computing too, I
yes,
believe.
we
Yes,
do with
No.
Next as well.
Yep.
And then
I
as
think
well,
we have Next actually doing an interview at some
Oh,
point in time.
marvelous!
Yeah.
I hope you're with Aaron Sherman then.
Yep, and I think we'll be
Excellent.
with Bob Labadini, if I'm not mistaken.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we also have in our booth the. You've heard of Silver Draft here
Yes,
at the show?
oh, yes.
Yes, indeed. So
Wow.
they're in our booth with the Devil and Demon. And then also, the Mac Pro.
Yes.
That has 2 Fire Pro
Oh my
cards
God!
in it.
I did not know that.
Yes, indeed. The 700 series. So it's a beautiful thing. We're supporting the complete ecosystem of partners because that's what it's about. We're really here to support the 4K workflow so our customers can not only work in real time, but also have time to iterate more.
Now, who do you envision would be your 4K customer? And it's not the typical person walking around with the DSLR.
Think about the money shot. Think about that money shot that really matters in post-production. Think about whether it be for film, for episodic, even commercial work, when you really want to get that amazing shot that you have the capability to capture all that image.
The 4K, and it's an interesting topic. It's somewhat related, somewhat unrelated. But what I'm going to try to do is put things at least in focus the way I see them. Certainly, in the United States, at least, the economy's struggling. People are struggling for jobs, and when you look at this electronic industry in general, the innovations that occur from CES, from NAB, that actually get produced the following year or the following year, create whole new technologies.
Yes.
And this is a perfect example of it. I mean, it really
I
is.
believe so.
So, this actually is going to create jobs.
Without a doubt.
Ultimately, because people are going to need to understand how to edit, how to create 4K videos, take that information, and it's actually changing the way you're editing, because the 4K gives you such a wide screen, or 6K, and now you just shoot the scene and you can actually zero in on a particular element of that scene and pick out just what you want, and the resolution and the quality and the detail is there, and that's due to the backbone of this AMD card, essentially.
Indeed.
So it's creating a whole new industry. So, if you're out there watching this and saying, I wish I could get a job or at least study something that I could be gainfully employed, NAB really is what's going to focus everybody on what the new jobs will be. And you look at this card, I mean, good God. I mean, it's just so exciting, and it's exciting again because it's cool technology, but also there'll be people who will be gainfully employed in this industry that didn't exist, because it still doesn't exist today. I mean, it's here, but it's not. I don't know a lot of people that have 4K TVs. Let's just put it that way.
True.
But I think next year or the year after, we won't be saying that.
No, exactly. It'll be a wonderful thing to come into realization. Right now, the 4K workflow is realized.
Oh,
and
for sure.
As we all know, you have to have content to be able to put out there. We will now have the content. We now do have content, and it will be coming out.
That's just insane. It's insane. Is this? I'm sure this is available as a unit separately.
It launched today, and it can be purchased with a workstation, or it can be purchased through our distribution partners.
Can you give me a feel for costs?
We just launched today with the manufacturer's suggested retail price of under 4K, $3,999.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's just it really is. It's unbelievable. It's
I'm
very,
just thrilled
very, very
to be
exciting.
able to be here, and thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to showcase
It's my
this
pleasure.
and share it.
If people wanted more information about this, where would they go?
Well, first and foremost, if they're here at NAB, I hope you'll come by the AMD booth, and that's in the South Lower Hall, SL 10405, towards the back of the hall. We have it there. Please go to amd.com and just reach out to us. We are here. We want to talk to you.
Well, this was, I learned a lot anyway, so it was very nice of you to come, and I really appreciate you bringing this. I'm blown away by it. What can I say?
I'm going to take you on tour.
I didn't expect this. I just didn't expect it. And, it's light. I mean, it's not, for what's in here, again, this technology, believe me, did not exist 2 years ago. The ingenuity that AMD puts, the research, the development behind something like this, and then to turn it out for that price, it boggles my mind. And I'm just, I would be very proud of the accomplishment, quite frankly.
Well, please do come by. We're showing it in solutions, as I said, in single, dual, and quad configurations.
I will be there, and I will probably bring my camera crew, and we'll probably do a little video of this. And we have to get you on the Gadget Professor show.
I would love that.
We Skype you in, unless you want to come to Arizona. We'd love to have you. But otherwise, we'll Skype you in, and like to spend some more time with you on this. It's great.
Thank you so much.
So thank you. I really appreciate you coming in.
Have a great
nice
show.
Thank
you too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
And we'll see you later, I'm sure.
I hope so. Come on by.
Okay, thanks.
All right, take care.
Thanks. Well, there you go, folks. You saw it first here in the Gadget Professor show. That thing is unbelievable. I mean, the technology that's packed in that. Again, a year ago, 2 years ago, it was a dream. And 4K is really coming into its own, and I can see it now. Last year it was a push, if you will, at NAB, primarily, I think, for the TV sets. I saw those all the time. And, there's still people that have tube sets at home, the old cathode ray tube. And that was fine, and you didn't know you needed anything better. And then they went to the plasma screens, and everybody dumped their cathode ray tubes and bought the plasma screens. And then a couple years later, they dumped the plasma screens, and they went to the LCDs, and they went to the backlit LCDs, and on and on and on. And then last year, I see 4K TV. Now, before I saw the 4K TV, I'm saying my 1080p TV right now, my LCD panel, I got, I think, a 52-inch one. I don't even know. I think it's 52 inches. How much better can it get? I mean, these lovely newscasters that I would watch, they're absolutely gorgeous and stunning. And now, when I got the 1080p and they show your face and your complexion, wow, you see everything. You see almost too much. And I'm saying, how much better can it be? Like, we're getting to the point of absurdity. And I got to tell you, last year, I was invited to the Panasonic booth, and they had for the media only a preview of their 4K TV 3D. And I'm not a big fan of 3D, and that's a whole nother story, but I went, and as you were pushed into this little area, they gave you the 3D glasses, and you know, I want to be impressed. Well, the lights went off, and they had 4 or 5 giant TVs. They were probably 70 inches. And when it came on, they had a 4K broadcast, which was, it blew my mind. Because here I am saying that the 1080p is like as good as it's going to get, and then I saw the 4K. Believe me, it's like night and day. Then what they did is they actually clicked a button and put the broadcast on 3D, and I'm not a fan of 3D. That was unbelievable. And then what really blew my brains is they clicked another button, and via the glasses, I was able to see 2 or 3 different videos simultaneously. Essentially what it allowed you to do, and this is actually something that exists now, is you can have your whole family in the living room, and you have the mother, the father, and 2 kids. You all can be watching the same TV, but watching different shows via your glasses, and the sound actually comes through the glass that you put on through the headset. And it was amazing, and the quality was 4K, 3D, and someone could be watching a football game, someone could be watching a cooking show, and the kids could be watching cartoons or whatever, all at the same time. And I got to tell you, it just blows your mind to think that it's actually possible. And that was last year, so it will be very interesting to see what they come up with Panasonic this coming NAB, and I'm going to try to get over there a little bit later. And I see that we have one of our next interviewees, and I'm not sure who it's going to be. We're going to find out. It looks like Cobalt, because I kind of recognize the box there. So I'm expecting to see Jesse Foster. Is that Jesse? Okay. Okay, we're getting another microphone because we're going to have 2 gentlemen with us today. So we're getting ready to bring on the folks from Cobalt. They make some very cool converters, and I got to tell you, if you're in the video industry, without converter boxes, you don't live without converter boxes, because you'll either have an SDI and you need to get it to an HDMI, or an HDMI and you want to get it to an SDI, so on and so forth. So these folks actually make those types of converter boxes and a bunch of other things, and they are actually going to be here and tell us a little bit about it. Now, while we have a break here and we're setting up for that next interview, I'm going to actually click onto the Cobalt site. I think I have it set up here. Oh, here we go. And I'll get their webpage ready. There we go. All right, so we're setting up actually a mixer and another microphone. Cobalt, right. And actually I have here some interesting information that you might be interested in about NAB itself. And this is not the largest show, believe it or not, in Vegas. The largest show is CES, and I think the attendance last year, 2013, for CES was, I think, 200,000-ish. Last year at NAB, the total NAB registrants, that's people who actually registered and got a badge, so you knew that they were here, that was 93,602. The number of exhibitors, the folks who actually had booths and were exhibiting here, was actually 1,581. The net square feet, the net square footage of how much space NAB took up last year was 878,500 square feet. That's a lot of feet. And they had people who were buyers, people who came to buy products, to see what's out there and see what they're going to buy. That was 61,351. Exhibitors, people who were, well, we mentioned that. International folks who came from outside of the United States was 25,211 from 160 countries around the world, and they actually had 1,748 press people here. Now, I am actually here as part of the press, and let me see if I could find my badge here. They have an interesting identification system here at NAB. And Mike's going to pan, well, Mike doesn't have his headset on, so he's not going to do anything. They're setting up the other microphone. But they have an interesting way of seeing who's who here. I don't know if you can see this, but it's actually purple. And on the bottom of that, it says press. So the people, the guards, and I mean there's guards at every doorway. There is no way in NAB. There is no way in without a badge. And I have a purple press badge, and that allows yours truly to get into pretty much any seminar or anywhere I want to go by showing this badge. Now, you just don't get this badge. You gotta be part of the press. You have to apply for your press badge about 6 months in advance, and then you've got to be vetted. So they got to actually make sure that you are indeed who you say you are, that you are a podcaster, that you just didn't start the podcast last week, and that you have credentials. And once they vet you, if you will, they will send you a confirmation with a code number. And then when you come here, you got to walk, unfortunately, to the South Hall, which is about a mile, and show your driver's license so they know they have a picture of you. And then they actually will print out and give you this badge. Now, on the back of the badge, which you're not going to be able to read, but I'll read it for you. This badge is required for admission. Please retrieve the badge and the holder at the designated badge holder pickup. Here's the interesting part. Lost badges will be replaced for a $50 fee. $50 if I lose this. You got to be kidding me. Maybe I'll sell this on Craigslist before I leave for $30. I don't know. We'll see. Lost tickets may only be replaced for the exact purchase amount. So $50 if I lose this. So I'm keeping it right here. Now, if you're not a press, then you would have an exhibitor badge. That would be green. If you're the public or a buyer, you would have a yellow badge, so on and so forth. So everybody is, it's very high security here. And we'll tell you some stories about that later. So right now, I don't want to keep jibber-jabbing around. Let's bring the people from Cobalt. Come right up. I think you might have to bring an extra seat. I'll move down a little bit.
Thanks for accommodating us.
Thanks for coming. Not a problem.
That is the graphics package.
Okay, is there something here that you'd want to show during the show? Okay, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. I'd rather see a picture live than
There you go. Yeah, we brought our catalog.
Okay.
And a live show and tell demo.
Okay, so you got to be Jesse.
I'm Jesse Foster.
Okay, Don Bain, the Gadget Professor, and you, sir?
Chris Shaw, Executive VP.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. So make sure when you talk that you actually speak into that microphone.
Okay.
And you are from Cobalt, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the company, Jesse?
I think that's the part Chris was going to do. I'll
Chris,
talk about
go for it.
Okay, the company was founded in 1997.
Should bring that right up to your. There you go.
It was founded in 1997 by Gene Zimmerman, who is still the owner and president. He started off making little throwdown modules. They were grey modules at the time.
Does he need this mic? No one's mic'd?
testing. Hello.
Okay, we got that mic.
While you talk, let's go ahead and do that.
All right, sorry for the technical problems. There's a lot going on here, folks, believe me.
You want to start again?
We all set? Okay, why don't you start from the top?
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Cobalt Digital was founded in 1997 by Gene Zimmerman. He's the founder.
Okay, Michelle, can we run a commercial while we straighten out the technical issues? Thank you.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. This machine is too important.
He's got the toys. He's got showmanship. And he's got sex appeal. Ladies and gentlemen, from the great Southwest, here's the guru of gadgets, the dapper and dashing Don Bain, the Gadget Professor. Gadget Professor.
Hello everyone, this is Don Bain, the Gadget Professor, coming to you live and in color from NAB 2014. We are located in the North Hall, right between the two the two places where you exhibit register and you attendee register. So people are starting to filter in for sure, and this place will be really packed in about an hour. And as I look out the doors, they're just flocking in. So we are here today to bring you interviews every 15 minutes with the latest in technology, and today we are very honored to have the people from Cobalt here, and they make some amazing converters, and I actually use them, believe it or not. And let's turn the show right over to Jesse. Jesse, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, thank you. So I'm the Western Region sales
Okay.
manager and product manager. Chris is going to give us a little history on Cobalt.
Excellent.
He is our senior executive vice president of sales.
Christopher, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it very much.
I appreciate being here. So I can tell you a little bit of the history of the company. In 1997, it was founded by Gene Zimmerman.
Right.
Gene has done many things. He's won Emmys for doing
Really?
engineering for Olympics.
Wow.
But he was asked by NEP, they were looking for SDI to analog down converter in a little box. They said they wanted 200. And so he was just doing that as a favor for them. And then they purchased something like 3,000. He thought,
Oh my God.
this is actually a company. And so that's where the company
Wow.
started, little throwdown boxes.
I had no idea.
Yeah, little throwdown boxes from there, and it's grown since then. 2006, we co-founded OpenGear with Ross Video and Ward Beck.
Okay.
And we are now a major OpenGear partner. And the OpenGear family is 50 to 60 different companies. Anybody who doesn't know OpenGear, is cards all fit into a standard frame format. So I've been with the company 8 years, and so we've seen considerable growth from 1997 when Gene started. We have a number of new products displayed at this show that we're displaying, and I'll hand over to Jesse to give you a little bit more information on those.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Chris. Yeah, thanks for having us again. So the genesis story of Cobalt that Chris just shared has grown into our relationship with Ross on the dashboard line, and just to touch on the original form factors of the small boxes that we've done.
Right.
Historically, we've branded that line of products the Blue Box Group, and that is to really gather that market share that we
Right, it makes
we
it
gave up to the
obviously.
competition.
Let's hold up the box so we can see it.
So
that
this
it's blue,
is
and
actually
that's
from the BBG 1000 series.
Okay.
The original Blue Box Group are smaller throwdown modules, mostly dip switch configurable. Within that range, we have fiber optic, single and dual channel transmit receives. We have transceivers. We have a range of analog to digital, digital analog converters, very high quality converters with audio embedding, de-embedding. We have SDI to HDMI and HDMI to SDI converters. You can force RGB or YPPR color space. Is very popular with system integrators, very flexible platform.
If I can just interrupt
Sure.
Jesse there, on the HDMI to SDI, SDI to HDMI, we have a unique, we're able to power it through USB from a monitor.
Oh, really?
So this actually means.
Oh, I did not know that.
This
What
means
a
there's
convenience that is. Wow.
Yeah, well, there's no temperature. I mean, there's no temperature growth. It stays cool for days.
They run extremely cool.
So some of our competitors who've been nameless,
Yeah,
they get rather warm.
That's an important fact to bring out is the heat factor, because what happens is some of these boxes, because they are small and they pack a lot of electronics in them, and essentially what happens is when they go over their tolerance, particularly if they're used in hot areas or outside in the sun, they overheat. And you might not think that's a big deal, but believe me, if the components aren't designed to keep cool, they start to break down, and when they start to break down, it plays absolute havoc. Now, the audience right now, seeing a nice clean HD video here, but we are using converters. We're using an HDMI to SDI or SDI to HDMI, I don't remember, but If that box started to heat up and were to malfunction, you wouldn't be watching me, trust me. So, when you're looking for high quality and you're looking to, to get a converter box, you want to look at the Cobalt because they are designed to withstand the heat, as you just mentioned, and that's an important factor, and it's an important cost factor. So even if you're paying a little bit more, believe me, it's worth it to avoid that heat issue. Am I not correct with that?
That is true, and we offer 5-year warranty on all our.
5-year warranty, okay.
It's actually a hallmark of a good electronic design as well.
Sure.
Thermal efficiency is definitely something that we look out for in that product line. Another feature that you could derive from another benefit you could derive from that USB power feature is that it also powers over traditional DC power supplies with the locking thread connector. If you use both of those at the same time, you can have redundant power capabilities in a brick form factor. If you're doing mission critical on-screen monitor conversion behind the talent, you don't want that thing blanking out on you. If your wall ward power supply goes down, you could actually have redundant power. So that's an attractive feature to a lot of our users there as well. We have long cable run capabilities, EQ up to 650 feet of Belden 1694 at HD rates on the SDI to HDMI converter. We have the ability to switch the center channel and LFE audio channels when you do the conversion from SDI to HDMI as per the spec.
That's crucial.
To the HDMI spec, or you can maintain the SDI channel array as well. We had that come from a couple of users
now,
as well. So.
Let's talk about the person who needs a box and you have 2 or 3 choices and they're not sure which one they need. Is there a way that they can get in touch with someone at your company, talk through their problem, and then you recommend what they should use, and actually you would help them understand how it works and things like that?
Definitely. We have 3 regional sales managers at this point in the United States. Chris handles international, so I handle the Western region. We have a gentleman named Jacob Kinsey who handles the central U.S. and Canada, and on the eastern side we have Anthony Click, and we all have a wide array of these for demo, and we're more than happy to talk you through the application.
So that you do have the possibility of having a box on loan for a couple days to try it out and make sure that it actually that's real important.
Big fans of that.
And again, if there's problems, you'll walk them through, or you'll change the box to if that's not what they needed.
Exactly. Yeah, no pressure. Just want to make sure you're comfortable with the solution, and we have plenty of these on hand. We actually have a bunch at our booth here for other vendors that have problems with what they brought, or if they didn't think about.
Oh, that's
something.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
our
awesome.
primary revenue is still the OpenGear cards, and we have our own frame, high-powered frame. It's open. All cards, OpenGear cards, will fit into this frame, plus the Ross OpenGear frame.
Right.
So these are some new products we've also introduced this year. I'll let Jesse talk about the.
So, touching on the OpenGear frame form factor, it is an open consortium of manufacturers of which we're one of the founding partners. The beauty of that system is it has one unified control software GUI called Dashboard, and all manufacturers design their products to meet the physical and power specs of the OpenGear standard. So you have plug and play functionality with one unified control point across over 30 manufacturers, so you can get a best of breed solution in the OpenGear realm without having to get into proprietary platforms. So that's really the beautiful thing about OpenGear. We are the largest provider of technology for OpenGear outside of Ross Video.
I didn't realize that, really.
Yeah, outside of Ross Video, that is the case. And we have a 360 watt frame that is unique to Cobalt. So that is in a 2RU footprint with 20 card slots. You can get very dense solutions. We support standard BNC, fiber connections. We have HD BNC and DIN 1.023 connectors to achieve high density, because the majority of our customer base in the past was trucks. So we've learned to engineer very dense bang for your buck solutions that find their way into a lot of other applications.
Let me focus in on a specific area, because we have a lot of people who are in the podcasting space, if you will, or they're with churches or high schools, colleges, things of that nature. And right now, actually, this morning we had the folks from StreamStar, who are actually our sponsors today, but they have a lot of HDMI cameras floating around out there that are prosumer models, if you will. And now a lot of the streaming box solutions are SDI inputs. And a lot of people don't want to afford or can't afford to buy the SDI cameras, and what they don't realize is that you actually provide a solution that will take that HDMI and convert that to SDI. Is that not correct?
That's correct, and they're small enough and light enough that they can be attached to the camera with very simple, Velcro approach, or something a little more sophisticated that can power off USB.
So the boxes are quite small.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and basically, you're going to get access to the uncompressed HDMI signal, and you're going to be able to turn that into SDI at a very high quality. So it's a very simple, cost-effective way to do that.
It's certainly cheaper than buying an SDI camera.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you could stay in the prosumer realm, get advantages of all that technology.
What's the box run? I'm just curious. I know you have a couple models. Just off the top of your head. I always spring these questions on our guests.
The list price of the HDMI converters is $465.
Okay.
And that includes power supply, USB cable, and a 5-year warranty. So.
Probably the cheapest SDI camera is probably about $2,800, maybe $2,500.
Yeah.
So I mean, here's an option that this company provides, and certainly they can give you anything that you want in range of sophistication. But I frequently get emails or questions that, hey, Gadget Professor, I have 4 HDMI cameras that Canon cameras that our church uses, or our high school uses, or our college. We love them. We want to get into streaming live or sports thing, but we can't afford 4 SDI cameras. Well, the truth of the matter is, you take that HDMI, you get one of these Cobalt converters, and you're SDI.
Yep. Right in the professional workflow from that stage, and we also embed 2 channels of audio as PCM embedded audio through the conversion. So
there's your solution. I mean, and I get asked that probably once or twice a month. So I get emails saying, hey, anything I can do with these HDMI cameras, we don't have the money to buy SDIs. Well, again.
And if somebody even has older technology where it hands off, well, if they have a camera that has component analog, we have
What's that?
Companion. Right. We have customers on the East Coast for a college on-field football production is all based on these old component analog output cameras that they want to turn to SDI. Same exact work scenario there. So.
Well, I highly recommend their products. They work. They've been around for a long time, and
just to mention,
please,
I didn't get to our new technology we're showing at the show. We have a next generation configurable quad split product that will be growing into a multi-viewer.
Really?
Yeah, it's very powerful technology. It's OpenGear based and will also be available in this form factor. Composite all the way up to 3G on each input, auto detect asynchronous inputs, no problem. You can rescale each quadrant to your desired sizing, so you can have a very flexible mosaic output for the multi-viewer.
Right.
It has timecode burn characters per input from embedded VITSI or RP188 timecode.
Wow.
It has 2 character generators per quadrant. It has on-screen audio metering, so that's very, very exciting for us. We will be getting a larger share of the trucks and the facility designs now that we're
awesome.
diversifying our designs. We have auto protection switches with intelligent switching, and we also have a next generation up-down cross conversion with that auto changeover functionality built into it, and a test generator capability with a bouncing box, which is really really valuable to have if you're trying to prove a transmission path is live and active.
Right.
Frame syncs
Verification.
traditionally freeze this frame. This will actually tell you that your path is live and active. So more technologies for live production, outside broadcasts at our booth this year.
Now, if people wanted more information, obviously they can go to your website.
That's correct.
And where are you located here at NAB?
We're for you or booth number. I kind of
4624.
Nice.
North Hall 4624.
Okay.
We're not far from the meatball stand.
Yeah, right behind the meatball stand. And
I'll be around there later on today.
It's cobaltdigital.com.
Wait a minute, have you eaten the meatballs here yet?
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, until you eat them, don't tell me to, don't recommend it. I've been to NAB a couple times.
Don't eat the brown meatballs.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd like to say
Sure,
quickly,
please.
when I first joined Cobalt,
you've been there 8 years.
8 years. We were more of a video company, and we still very much are. But with the complexities of audio, the way we have a very strong partnership with Dolby linear acoustic, and we've developed cards with Dolby transcoding, up mixing, down mixing, and the loudness processing, which in the last few years, digital video is a lot simpler. I'm being careful here. The audio has grown extremely.
Isn't
complex.
that interesting? You would think the opposite.
Yeah, but with the various,
It's got so much dynamic range. That
Dolby
people-
E, Dolby Digital, Dolby Digital Plus, and so then the requirement for compliancy through loudness processing.
And the audio is more complex than the video.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it actually is.
I'm surprised.
Quite a few standards, and it's very flexible. There's metadata involved, and beyond the hardware solutions that Chris was referencing there, where we do partner with the two industry leading providers of that technology, we have some software solutions, specifically compliancy solutions, the FCC mandate that everybody needs to have consistent loudness across commercials and programs.
Okay,
We
sure.
have a software product that actually will log your performance of your facility at the final emission point and store that data for up to a year. If someone were to complain, you could go back to the FCC and prove that you're in compliance.
So
And
that-
we do the processing as well.
That stuff, I mean, that's critical. That's law at this point. You have
Very,
to have
very
that for
valuable tool.
validation.
Yeah, $10,000 of fine. We come in under that on a normal project. So it's like a no-brainer to pick
Oh,
that
I'm glad
up.
you mentioned that because I wasn't even aware of that. I mean, I knew of the law, but I didn't realize you had the equipment to validate.
We do. Yeah, we do.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. What about 4K video? Anything?
Well, besides initially with fiber products and some DAs, we're all watching 4K very carefully. I mean, I believe it's going to happen, but it's going to take a while. It's probably got more legs than 3D, but those legs have got to start running.
And our-
You see, I mean, this is what we just talked about before you folks came on. Is you know, the progression. Actually, it's an interesting thread, if you will. If you've been watching the show from 9 o'clock this morning, everybody that's been here has in some way, shape, or form either shown a 4K product or at least mentioned it in their technology or in the future of technology. Now, I'm kind of with you. You're saying it's not quite here yet. We just had AMD just before you.
Yep.
With man, they had a box that was, I mean, beyond on steroids. It was 4-channel, 4K, 6K.
Yep.
Right.
And I mean, that technology did not exist 2 years ago. It just did not exist. And here they are. I mean, they're demoing it and they're showing it, and it exists. So, you know, I was shocked that they were that far down the line.
We're poised to deliver beyond the fiber and the distribution amplifiers that Chris mentioned. Our next generation platform is a quad path 3G SDI platform. So we have a lot of success in color correction for on-set monitors or
Right.
live broadcast. We have the ability to probably turn around a 4K color corrector very quickly.
Really?
We also have...
So it's in your portfolio. I mean, there's no question about that.
It's coming down the pipe. We're also going to have down conversion. You know, it's all capable on this platform.
And Christopher, you think it's still a couple of years away? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
mainstream?
I think the production.
I'm more
of
aggressive about it. It's going to happen
production-
sooner.
I'm just curious. It's just interesting to hear people's positions on it.
No, production are using it. Some live using 4K. To be fully accepted, you've got to persuade the consumer to purchase sets,
Well,
and also you've got to be able to pipe it to the home.
Well,
Here's the big problem.
Before you get to that point, all the production companies and the broadcasters have to essentially invest in new equipment to get to the point where they can even see if it's acceptable. So I mean, it's really a whole paradigm shift in technology and
chicken and egg thing.
at an expense, because the stuff is not cheap. I mean, you just look. I mean, just your box alone, which is not the expensive part, but when you start looking at cameras and recorders and all the equipment that surrounds the 4K environment,
Yep.
we're talking some serious cash.
Especially when you look at plants who spend an awful lot of revenue, money going to HD, and now you're telling them you go the next step.
Yeah, that's
where I see it's lower volume, but sports production is going 4K in some regards.
no
but
question.
We do a lot with the high-end studios in Los Angeles, and they do have a mandate internally to
They
be
do.
ready to go. And they're missing tools like Gradical generators, color correctors, and that's where we could fill the bill. But that is a lower volume side of the business.
it's interesting. So you're thinking it's what, a year away?
Well, I'm talking to people about this stuff now.
So you're
yeah.
saying it's here now? I'm just
in
curious.
the higher echelons of Hollywood, it's here now. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And you're saying a year or
Well,
two?
I'm looking more at the
Consumer end?
Consumer end.
Okay,
yeah.
and how long you think that is?
we've got to find a way to pipe it to the home. And
I don't know how they're going to do that.
ATSC 3.0, I don't think is encompassing. I'm speaking out of school now, but that part of our business moves very slowly. So this would be new media delivery, over the top, Netflix type of stuff. And cinematic release level.
That's very interesting. Well, I thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming in. It was fascinating, and I wish you much success. And we'll contact you, or you contact me, and we'll have a video for you.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate you coming.
We're able to put that on our website?
You were able to do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
And you have the Gadget Professor's approval, because I love your stuff.
Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, sir.
We'll close the loop, and I'll get that in your hands so you can try it out.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good show.
Thank you so much.
I'll probably be around later on to visit you. I want to see some of that new stuff you got.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's going to be interesting as we proceed on with NAB to hear the 4K story. Some people say it's here now. Some people say it's on its way. Some people say it's 2-3 years away. It kind of reminds me, I guess that's capitalism at its best. It's progress too. I mean, they got to invent new things, so I guess the consumers like you and I end up buying them. Some of this stuff is not cheap, I got to tell you that. But if you look back historically, if you could think way back, I'm sure a lot of those listeners out there, I am an Edison collector, if you will, and I have a lot of Edison Victrolas that I probably have 8 or 9 of them. And you look from the Victrola, and then you look up to the, remember the 8-tracks? They were the big rage, and then they stopped that, and everybody had to buy the CDs, and you bought those same Rolling Stone albums 20 times from the 8-track, and then you went to the cassette, and then they did away with the cassette, and they did the DVD, and now, DVDs, CDs, they're pretty much on their way out. Everything is digital. So essentially, what you're left with now is a stick. And you just load what you want into your car. All the cars have them. Ford certainly has them. And you plug the stick in, and all your music is digital. You load it off the internet. So you see the change, what happened with the audio components and products. And now you're seeing it essentially with the video products. We go from the cathode ray tube. We talked about this. I don't want to get old and repeat myself, but the technology shift, the change in technology is what drives jobs, what drives business, and it keeps the clock ticking and the mouse running up and down. So Mike is just signaling to me that we're down to our last interview, and it looks like it's COMREX. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you, I'm assuming, are Joe.
I am Joe Torelli. Nice
Joe,
to meet you.
Don Bain, the Gadget Professor. Glad to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to talking to you. I did a quick look, because I was not familiar with your company. I did a quick look on your website, and my jaw dropped and my eyes opened, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you about a preliminary interview, so we know what we're going to talk about. But I know what I want to talk about. Right there, that live shot.
Excellent.
Oh
Okay.
My God!
And I'll do my best. I've
Wow.
been with the company a little over 2 weeks, but I get it.
2 weeks.
Yeah. But I have
Hopefully you know more than I do.
I have a long background in video, so that's what made it exciting to me. So one of the things that I
are you nervous at all?
No, I'm unaccustomed as I am.
There's over 1 million people watching us right now.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. It's fewer than I'm used to, but. So I attended the Broadcasting and Cable Technology Leadership Summit a month or so ago.
Right.
And I was walking through the sponsor areas and Harris and Grass Valley,
Sure.
RT, the usuals.
Right.
And I've been attending this conference for, I don't know, when I was at Avid, when I was at Quantel, when I was at Apple. We still participated and sponsored.
Right.
And I saw this box that had a Bauer battery on the back, and
Right.
on COMREX's stand, and I've known COMREX for 35 years or so.
Right.
I used their wireless mic receiver on my CP16 film camera.
I remember that.
As a child. And then we used the COMREX IFB when we were doing live shots
Right.
at FLA and then at NBC News when I was there. So I looked at it and I said, so what are you guys doing different with this? What's the deal? And I saw the cellular antennas on it, and I'm thinking,
Right.
well, they're sending video back over cellular.
Yeah.
I assume that because you're COMREX, you have IFB and Q, and they said, yeah, of
Right.
course, but nobody does that. None of the other guys are doing IFB and Q on the same device. How cool is that, right? And then I saw return video, and I said, oh my goodness, return video?
Yeah.
What is up with that?
Yeah.
So that began the conversation, me with COMREX, and I'm here to help build the market in the video side because I know a lot of video people that need
Sure.
this.
Well, let's start from the top. Let's first of all, let's see if we can get Mike to get a close-up of this live shot. And of course, this is only one product, but this is one of their newest products. This device essentially is used for what? We'll just start from bare bones basic.
So typically a television station will have a $250,000 minimum investment in a satellite truck or a microwave truck. It usually is in the $400,000 to $500,000. In the past couple of years, several companies have figured a way to be able to take 2 cellular antennas or 3 or 4 and tie them together, or 5 or 6, tie them together and take a video output of the camera, plug it into this device, and then have it reconstructed back at the station without the expense of the big satellite microwave truck. So what COMREX has done is they've been working in the audio environment for so long with radio products like Access and various other devices where their contribution from reporters over cellular, they know how to really maximize that IP connection.
Right.
With that, they decided, well, let's put some H.264 on it and let's see what happens.
That easy, huh?
And then they found that they still had room to spare.
Wow.
So then one of the guys said, well, if we have extra room, maybe we could send return video. And so I just met that guy a couple days ago.
And that's critical. I mean, that's a critical step, if you will.
That is a huge thing, because return video, I've got anecdotes from my NBC News days where Muammar Gaddafi demanded return video when he's talking to Brokaw or to Jennings, and we would have to tie up 2 of the available 3 satellite paths across the Atlantic.
Just for,
so Brokaw could see Gaddafi and Gaddafi could see Brokaw, and then we'd have to switch to Jennings, switch to whatever. So return video is an incredible tool.
It's huge.
And it could be prompter. Maybe you want to put prompter on there.
Right.
So you decide. Maybe the camera guy wants to watch a hockey game. I live in Minnesota. Wants to watch a hockey game.
I'm a Bruins fan, sorry, but go ahead.
So, when his time slot comes up, then they switch over to the program audio, program video, and they go out. So I'm excited about it. There's some software features that are being added to it coming up soon. We have some stations that are talking about using the rack unit, which is the receiver, just to do station to station.
But you need both. You would need the sender, if you will, and the receiver, which is rack mounted. So there's basically 2 parts to this process.
Right.
Okay.
And so the rack unit sits in Iraq or in Afghanistan or wherever you want to put it. And it's paired to that one device, but you can also have maybe the whole station group has gone through and put all the profiles for each of the field units into each of the stations of that group, so that station manager, the news director, operations manager, can say, hey, we're in Fort Lauderdale, Miami affiliate, we want to see the Seattle guy. Hit the button and it's there. Now, and it VPNs, it actually does, it's called crosslock.
What I'd like to do is actually 2 things. One, I'd like you, if you don't mind, Mike's going to get a close-up of that box, and I'd like you to just go through the configuration of it and just show our audience really what's involved with it, because it's quite unique. Now, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know anything else that's like this that's out there. At least I'm not familiar with anything that has the robustness of feature sets that this has.
This has been a project for the last couple of years. And I don't know whether the video was actually turned on a year or so ago when it was shown at NAB, but the excitement that I've gotten from the people that I've announced where I'm working now is I've already been swamped over at the show. It was really difficult to pull away because the return video aspect of it provides...
like I said, there's nothing out there that I'm aware of that does this.
And they're starting to do it. You can always do it with an iPhone where you've got a tuner and you have your ability to be able to go in and log in and see it. But that's yet that other device. The beauty of this is this sits on the back of the camera with a Bauer mount.
Now that actually connects up to the camera, so let's actually show where...
So you've got your Anton Bauer gold mount on the back, so that on the front, so that slides onto the back of the camera, and then the battery slides onto here. So it's a 3-pound additional...
Drop that down just a little bit. Like
3-pound additional payload, effectively, to get this to work. But the beauty of it is, camera can hear control room. IFB goes to the studio audio, mix minus goes to the talent off the same box.
So everybody's in touch,
Right? So it's, when we look at some of the connections, we've got an HDMI in, so you could take your non-HDCP little consumer camera and plug it in if you want. HD SDI or SDI can go in with embedded audio. You have a loop through, so you can run that to a monitor or run that to another output if you need to. And then the composite in gives you the ability to take anything, a pool feed, to be able to also take that with an analog audio, 5-pin analog audio for breakout.
Talk about versatility.
The Ethernet connection is interesting because if you do have a good pipe, you're in a good city that's got Ethernet drops, you can go 15 megabits on that.
Sweet.
So you can crank it up depending on what the profile is that you've set. COMREX has been very diligent in coming up with several different profiles for different use. So if it's 3G antennas, here's a profile that we've found works well with 3G antennas. LTE, here's what works well with LTE. So it's the video goes back to the station, the Q and the IFB comes back to the camera, the return video and program audio comes back to the camera, you put it on a little screen and you come see us at C2221 and we've got a rig working.
And here's where your cards would go.
Right,
your
these are the
sticks.
The two extensions, and some of the things the feedback that we're hearing is how come there's not 6 or how come there's not 8? What COMREX has found is that if you make more of a diversity array here, you're getting better performance by having them at about a 90-degree angle.
Oh, really?
And so they've done a lot of research over the past couple of years to find
That's essentially because of the wave propagation
right.
and also
Absolutely.
Canceling each other out,
Correct.
right?
And
Because
so
of
when
the
you put
RF
them both
interference.
up together parallel to each other,
Right.
they're bouncing into one another.
Right. Essentially, what happens is, if you want to just break it down, they're basically receiving, but they're actually it's magnetic, if you will, in nature, and the signals essentially interfere and cancel each other out.
Right.
So when you have 6, you have 6 times, if you will, the channel interference that you would have perhaps with 2, and you've actually scientifically validated this.
And the risk is that you're adding to the latency because you're dealing with multiple carriers.
Right, figuring out who's doing what.
To try to get the best one out of there.
Sure.
Now there's an iPhone app or an iOS app and an Android app that allows you to see the diagnostics of the signal quality directly Wi-Fi connected to that device.
Right.
So I can watch the packets that are being sent and the confirmation, and then it'll tell me if any packets were not received, and it can automatically adjust the compression based on that, which is pretty cool. And we have a little slider for the latency. Over in the booth, we've got 142 millisecond latency using Wi-Fi in the building at NAB.
That's
which
amazing.
Is unusual.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
We're really
I couldn't even
with it.
use the Wi-Fi here at NAB.
You cannot.
I have
It's
an
very
Ethernet
difficult
cable.
to do. It's a challenge.
Well, there's so many people. Even though the hotels, Wi-Fi signals are rarity.
And when you go to the 5 gig channel, you're getting a little bit better performance because it's segmented. So you've got a little bit better slice to get a little.
That's great.
But we're not doing that. The short communication's easy. But it's really an amazing device. The portability aspect of it, this could go in a bag along with a couple extra batteries.
Yeah.
And
how much does that actually weigh?
So this is under 3 pounds with the actual modems in it. It's still under 3 pounds. It's about 2 pounds, 11 ounces.
Wow, it's light.
Yeah.
It's a lot lighter than I thought it would be.
You would expect it to be the weight of a Bauer. When you see that connection, you're expecting it to be a Bauer.
I thought it would be a lot heavier.
Yeah,
it's actually, I don't even think it's 3 pounds, is it?
It's not. It's just under.
Wow.
And I put antennas on it and weighed it on a really good granular.
It's like its own broadcast station.
You're right.
I mean, that's essentially what it is.
And I don't mean it to replace a satellite truck or a microwave truck.
Yeah, but
it's
it does.
It's another tool in the box. Well, no, there are times when you need to do that.
I understand.
You're in downtown Chicago.
It's such an ingenious, such a well laid out, aesthetically pleasing, functional device. I mean, everything is very clear, very easy to access. It's well made. I'm very impressed with the engineering behind it, and also the flexibility that it offers. It's great. It's great.
Exciting. And then the rack unit is a typical 19-inch rack.
Right.
It's got the AES inputs, analog inputs. It's got the Q, IFB ins and outs, and it's got the BNC connector.
Yeah, essentially that's the receiving part. This is the transmitter, and then you actually have the receiving part.
And what's interesting is they're both identical in architecture, in the compression. So if I needed to send HD back, this won't receive the HD because I only have composite outputs.
Right.
But I can put another rack on the other side and pull the HD out of that over whatever that bandwidth is that's available.
Makes sense.
It's pretty cool.
It is.
That's why I'm so excited about it.
Well, I would be excited about it too.
It's fun.
So, well, I thank you so much for coming in and visiting us. And where are you located?
We're at C2221 in the Central Hall, right kind of in the middle of the upper part of the Central Hall.
And certainly if anybody wanted more information, they would go to
the website, COMREX.com, and we've got all the data is available on that, and anxious to hear from you.
Yeah, and your website's really well done.
And I don't want to ignore all of the cool radio products and the voice over IP talk show systems and all the rest of the
Well,
very cool
you know
stuff
what?
that COMREX does.
We have a couple minutes. I would like to actually talk about that if you have time. Just take
I
another
may
minute
not
or
know
two.
enough about it to be a good source. But
Well,
we can
tell you
try
what.
it.
One of the things that's interesting, and again, people don't realize this, and that's why I'm trying to at least touch a little bit about it, is the products that allow radio stations to transmit over the internet.
Right.
And you make those types
We do.
of boxes. Can
We
you just
do.
talk a little bit about that?
So there's a bandwidth limitation on every telephone that's out there. So certain telephones can go to maybe 3,000 hertz of available bandwidth. It's why they call it a telephone call or a phoner, because it sounds like it's a phoner. And what several companies have been able to do is come up with kind of a uniform method of a codec. Opus is what this codec is called, that allows you to expand that to 6,000 and higher, so that you could literally, I live in Minnesota, so I've got, Al Franken as a senator, I've got Amy Klobuchar as a senator, Michelle Bachmann, Keith Ellison as representatives. If they needed to do a phoner with somebody, we can put an app on their iPhone called VIP QC that their legislative assistant may already have who the stations are that they want to talk to.
Right.
And they literally hit the button and hand it to them, and they're getting 15K audio from their iPhone on an IP to IP
Which
connection.
makes them sound a heck of a lot better.
Like a studio.
Right.
It puts them in the studio, and it just changes the dynamics of live audio. It's fantastic.
Right.
So COMREX is known for that. It shouldn't surprise people that COMREX is doing that. But when I see my TV chums walking up the hall and they see this, they're surprised, because they all remember, the IFP
Absolutely.
part of it. So.
Well, that's great. Thank you so
Okay.
much for coming in.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your
it.
time and fantastic stuff.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good one. Well, now let's take a break, and if Michelle is on the mic, I'd love to run a station ID and run a little commercial for those wonderful folks at StreamStar, who we thank so much for sponsoring today's show. Let's take a little look at the StreamStar product lineup, if you will.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. This mission is too important. This is too
Okay.
We're out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, there was some audio jiggery pokery at the beginning.
That's life. Could be.
100,000 people coming in with their own radio signals.
I appreciate all your help.
So tonight at 6:30 is that screening, if you want to go. Yes. Check, check, check. Check.
You guys don't have lobs, do you?
Too much interference. We tried it this morning.
Didn't work?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Do you want me not to send emails to fundanything.com anymore?
Just use my AOL.
Test A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V.
L is for the way you look at me. O is you're the only one.
I see our ratings going down.
V is very, very extraordinary. Where is Scotty Mills?
South Point Cinema.
Scott's
Make sure this is working.
Whoa.